Yo, what's up YouTube? It's TRS, or the real Smokey here, and today I am showing you my single target build for the Hunter range on NeverWinter, currently in Module 22. So, if you do go on to find this video informative or helpful, feel free to leave it a like and subscribe for more. So we're going to start with the gear on this video. As you can see, I'm using the Enclaved Scout's hat, which is when your stamina is over 75%, you gain accuracy up to 7.5%. I know on the tooltip it says 750%. That's not true. I wish it was, because that would just make building a hell of a lot easier. As you can see, it's got a major critical severity armor reinforcement kit on it. Next up is the Blessed Bones Devil's Ribcage. This is the best in slot chest piece at the moment. I will be doing an updated video when I get the new chest piece, which should be available in the next 4, maybe 5 weeks, going to figure out how to get it. If there's any PC players that know how to get it, feel free to let me know in the comments. This chest piece, if you don't know by now, it gives 12.5% crit strike and 12.5% critical severity when you fully stack it at 5. This chest piece is easy to maintain up. Next are the wrist guards of participation. Gain 375 power for 10 seconds when you strike an enemy. Lose a stack when you are struck. Stacks up to 20 times. Ideally what you want to do is get it up to 20 stacks. And then take a hit and go on. Because when you take a hit, it refreshes the duration. Next up is the Masterwork Weapons. When in a group, you gain 2% outgoing damage. Well, when in a group, this 2% goes up to 10% damage, 10% outgoing healing, and 10% incoming damage. So it's, for trials, it's hands down best weapons you can run. So next up is the armor enhancement, well not armor enhancements, weapon enhancements that I use. I use aim shot and aim strike increase. I don't use aim strike, should I say, but I do use aim shot. The offhand is recharge speed and accuracy. The recharge speed just makes this rotation nice, and obviously accuracy is nice. Next up is the Wasteland Wanderers. When you're 25 yards or closer to your target, your combat advantage is increased by 5%. So that's essentially just straight up 5% damage increase. The neck and waist set is the Demogorgon set. My neck, rings and waist all have major combat advantage kits on them. The first ring I'm using is the Band of Air. If you haven't got this yet, I would recommend farming your backside off to get it, because this ring just offers so much. It's a nice damage increase in trials. A lot of classes, you're looking anywhere between 15 to 20% damage just from this ring. Some cases more, dependent on proc rates. The next one is the Red-Eyed Glare. 4500 crit sev, 5% power and 2.5% accuracy. This ring just offers you 12% stats. Compared to any other ring, this just outperforms and outdoes everything else. Obviously the waist is part of the demo set. The new shirt I'm using is from the mini bosses in the new area Dragonbone Vale. It's plus 5% combat advantage, minus 25% control resistance. you won't notice the control resistance. And then the pants I'm using are the Velvet Pants +1. Because with the way the stat gain is now, it's just helpful. When you crit with your power, you gain 25 action points, which anyone who knows a ranger knows that's a 10th of a daily. So it's nice, it helps maintain your action points. So the first artifact is Demogorgon's Reach. Just makes sense to go with the set. I'm opting not to use it as a main, because they fixed the stacking of it, and every Tom, Dick and Harry has it as their main right now. Next one is Jewel of the North, which is just item level and a nice spread of stats. Get power, defense, crit, just nice. Next up is NeverWinter's Standard, which is also a high item level, good stat spread. And the main that I'm using is Halis's Blast Scepter. This artifact you can swap out for any main artifact, because the way this build is, it's overstatted on, so this fits in. Next up is the enchants. As you can see, I'm using the 1 accuracy enchantment, because it's just nice to have, and the other 3 offense are cobalt enchantments, which is critical severity. So I'm using 3 of them in offense. In the defensive slot, I am using the Garnet, I think that's how it's pronounced, enchantment, which is just pure defense. So between all these enchants, you're looking at 9,000 defense. So it's nice, because defense is always useful. And in the utility slot, it is Forte, because Forte is helpful. It's power, accuracy and deflection for a hunter ranger. The bonus enchant I'm using is Recharge Speed. Just like on the offhand, it makes the rotation smooth. Combat for single target is the Poisoned Fawn. It's the nerfed version of the old Bilefawn, but it still puts in work. The overloads I'm using are Devil's Precision, which if you don't know, they're currently bugged, so the time on these will not run out. So just bear that in mind for if that could be potentially getting patched. I don't want it to get patched, so please keep this, NeverWinter. And the other one is the Red Dragon Glyph, to help with the proc rate of the Band of Air. Because this build does not proc the Band of Air overly too much without this, so this was a necessity for it, to help with the proc rates. So next up, I will go to Companions. As you can see, I'm using the Icosahedron Ion Sun. If you don't have this companion, one I would recommend using would be the Owlbear Cub, because this comp gives you crit strike, combat advantage and power as its enhancements. And the gear I'm using is 2 silver talismans of the companion, which is accuracy and combat rate advantage. The third one is the glistening talisman of the companion, which is just pure crit sev. As you can tell, the build does have a lot of crit sev on, so if you did go Owlbear, you could replace the crit sev gems and the comp piece for whatever other stats on Owlbear. I cannot remember off the top of my head right now. And the Runestone is the companion enhancement, which is 150 damage or 7,500 stats in all the augment ones, which we went over and said was crit, combat advantage and power. The comp bonuses I'm using are Paterial Wisdom, which is 11% versus bosses, which is nice. The next one is The Bigger They Are, which is on bosses it is 8.6% damage, which is a lot better than the NeverWinter's Night. And the other slots are Flame Sprite, which is accuracy crit chance. The Orc Wolf Instinct, says here, which is also accuracy crit strike. And the utility one is accuracy and combat advantage. So next up will be Boons. I will just put the Boons on the screen now. Feel free to pause it and look over all these yourself. They're pretty self-explanatory. Because we have more boon points than we need right now. It'd be nice if they updated the Boons. So next will be Guild Boons, which I'm currently using accuracy. Which, if your guild doesn't have accuracy, you will have to make adjustments elsewhere on this build. I'm fortunate enough to be in a guild that has accuracy. Most guilds have it now, but not all. In defense, I've gone defense, because the more defense you have, the better you can take a hit. The utility I'm using is Red Sickness, because that is a must on trial runs, because you never know when you're going to go down, and if you don't have this on, the reduction in damage is horrendous. And obviously PvP one don't matter, unless you are a PvP player, and then obviously then it matters. So I'm going to go over to mounts now. This build does still use tunnel vision on single target, because it's just a hard hitting power. 3000 magnitude, just quality. Next up is ferocity. When you or a party member are struck by a foe, there is a chance you will gain a stack of ferocity, granting you 1.6% additional damage for 10 seconds, and it may stack up to 3 times. I'm using this to help with the proc rate of the Band of Air, because the powers that don't proc it, if you've got ferocity active at the time, it makes that power have the potential to proc the Band of Air. And then obviously next is Gallop. So I'll go over to the stable. Of course I'm still using 2 Warlord's Inspirations, because I just share my mounts with my AoE loadout. So feel free to use whichever ones you want in these 2 slots. Just look at the insignias that I've got in and try and match them. So obviously you'll want, if you do swap it out for a different bonus, you'll want 2 skill, 1 skill, 2 aggression. Next up is a mastery and 2 aggressions. And then obviously you've got the 2 gladiator guiles, which just makes you move faster. It's 15% movement speed, which for the new trial you are going to need movement speed to move one of the mechanics. If you don't move the mechanics, the group will probably kick you out of it. This one is 1 dominance and 2 mastery. The second gladiator guile is 2 dominance and 1 skill. And then the bottom one is Assassin Covenant. This is pretty much you lose 1,000 of your defensive stats to gain 1,000 in all your offensive stats. Other than the power. So if you do want to swap out the Warlord's Inspiration, I would recommend putting in another Assassin's Covenant, because that'll help you with stats a little better. So obviously I've gone over comps, mounts, boons now, so I'm going to go over powers. The main at-will I use is Aim Shot. It's only at-will that I use actually. The encounter powers I use are Hindering Shot, which is also Hindering Strike. I'll let you read these powers yourself. I also use Long Strider Shot and Gushing Wound. And I'm always the Commanding Shot HR in every group, because I'm able to keep it up consistently. The main daily I use is Destructive Shot. It's just, it goes with the last feat. The class features I use are Seeker Vengeance, because you always want to be behind the target. And the second one is Aspect of the Falcon. Your range power deals 10% more damage if you are within 25 feet of your target. So this just helps your range powers do more damage. But if you want to help your group out with combat advantage, I would recommend using Aspect of the Pack. If you are within 30 yards of an ally, you and your ally gain 1% combat advantage per friendly target affected to a maximum of 5%. So this is just a passive buff to everyone in your group. So the feats are Rate of Change, grants 15% damage boost when switching stances. You'll constantly switch stances, and you'll see what I mean when I show you it in a sec. Next is Thorned Roots. Your roots are updated to Thorned Roots, which deals 75 magnitude damage, but of course when you're hitting a boss, most bosses are control immune, so your roots are ticking for 225 magnitude damage. Next up is Predator. When you using a range power, you apply Predator to the first target. It takes 10% more damage, and it lasts 10 seconds. So this is up constantly. Next is Forest Bound. When you apply Strong Grassland Roots or Thorned Roots, you reduce the cooldown of all your current recharging powers by 10%, and weak roots are 5%. And then next up is More Than Disrupted. Disrupted Shot increases your range damage by 10%. So, gone over, and obviously these are just passive feats. I am a Wood Elf right now. So I'm going to show you my stats. These are my stats unpotted. As you can see, I've got 75.1% power, 84.6% accuracy. This is a high accuracy, low combat advantage build. I know some people will be like, why are you not in combat advantage? I personally find this build to have a higher damage output. And obviously, I got 67.5% crit strike and 67.5% critical severity. And you can see my defensive stats right there. And I will show you my recharge speed, which is 18.2%. Movement speed is only at 37.8, so I might have to increase that if need be. And action point gain is at 5.3. And these are the attribute shots I went with. I've only got 4 in strength, because dexterity, the critical severity from dexterity is nice to balance around. And obviously, charisma is forte and recharge speed, which, as I've said elsewhere in this video, recharge speed is just bare at making this rotation. So, you've seen my stats when I'm not potted up. I will show you what pots I use. I use a Wild Storm Elixir, a Flash Potency rank 3. If you've got +1s, they do the same. A 5% Watermelon Sorbet, because I don't want to spend a fortune on the 10% ones. If you've got the 10% ones, nice on you. You'll be able to make adjustments to the spell. And then obviously I use a Sambuke, just for that extra 5% movement speed. So, these are my stats. I also use the Reforged box. So, my critical severity will be up an extra 2%. So, as you can see, 70% crit chance. So, I'll get 12.5 from my chest piece. And then I also get an extra 7.5% from my precision. So, crit goes up to 90. Crit Sev goes up to 90. As you can see, my accuracy is already at 90. And then I gain 7,500 from the Risk Guards of Participation, which puts my power at 90. And obviously when I'm in combat with one enemy, my combat advantage will be at 63.1%. So I'm going to show you the rotation. I'm going to show you it slowly, and then I'm going to show you it in action. So I'm going to show you my rotation, which is Disrupted Shot, Commanding, aim shot twice, long strided, hindering, aim shot twice again, gushing wound, and hindering strike. So I will show you that in slow-mo, which, well, slower motion, so it's disrupted shot, commanding, aim shot twice, long striders, hindering, aim shot twice again, gushing wound, hindering strike, and rinse and repeat. So, if you have found this video to be helpful and informative, like I said, feel free to subscribe and also like. So until next time,